What's good, people? We're back. 12th man's back. The Arsenal roundabout is back. Big up to Ty. Ty Sports has raided. Big up to you, Ty. I hope you're well, bruv. Thank you so much. And welcome to everyone that's come over and, of course, that are joining live right now. There's over 100 of you in the waiting room, which means that you must be willing to listen to some of the most elite of the Arsenal fans around. We've got Kenny Ken in the house. We've got Brandon from True Gunners TV. We've got Matty, the Southern Gooner, in the house. And, of course, we've got DJB. We should have Northside and D joining us very soon from Famzone TV. I think he's literally raided and he's jumping on now. And Northside, well, who knows? I've sent him the link, so hopefully he'll jump on soon. Big up to everyone that's here. We're going to be talking Eze tonight. We're going to be talking Rodrygo tonight. We're going to be looking at the Athletic Bilbao game as well in brief and how we played in that game, looking towards, of course, the Premier League season starting. We're going to get some predictions from people as well on tonight's show. There's no Igal, there's no Lee. They will be definitely joining some shows within the future. It's hard at the moment with Igal because obviously he's had Littleton and Lee. I don't even know where Lee is or what part of the world Lee is at the moment. I've left him to it. So he will definitely be joining us in the next couple of weeks when he's back to football. And it is round the corner. And the Community Shield was at the weekend. We saw Crystal Palace pick up another trophy, which Mikel Arteta classes as a trophy. So well done to Palace on their second trophy that they got, as it's classed as. Liverpool, a lot of people are saying they didn't look too great. I don't think they looked fit, personally. We've seen Chelsea in the Club World Cup and them looking a little bit serious or more serious than last season. Manchester City, people seem to be writing off. I think defensively they look a little bit frail, but trust me, they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. And then, of course, you've got the likes of Newcastle, Villa, Spurs, Manchester United, all signing players and looking like they're trying to play catch-up. So we're in for a mad season, as we know. Arsenal's transfer window we are going to mention as well. So listen, we might as well start there, to be honest. Big up to D. Hope you're well, bro. Look, I've got to be honest. I woke up today. I've gone and done some filming in London. I've come back and everyone's going mad because Eze's going to Spurs. Rodrygo's going to Man City. They're the two dream signings that Arsenal wanted. And it looks like Berta is now under pressure to try and do some form of reaction to it or go for other targets and try and get ourselves a couple before the window shuts. Now, some people have been looking at this and saying that this is completely done now. We ain't interested in Eze. Eze's not choosing Spurs over Arsenal. Arsenal just aren't interested in him. And some people are saying this is just Eze and his agent flirting with Spurs to get the deal done for Arsenal. I have no idea what is going on. Let me tell you this now. I have literally no idea what is happening with Eze because there was a £68 million release clause, which apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, is now expired. I don't know if that means Crystal Palace now want 80 or Crystal Palace now want 50. But Spurs are massively interested due to the injuries to Maddison and Kulusevski, and Arsenal have always been interested in Eze. But how interested are we? Kenny Ken, what's happening with Eze, bro?
Well, I don't know why you're surprised because we had this discussion on the eve of the North London derby in 2024. You were there with me.
Yeah,
and Mike. I'd said that, that I'd be very surprised if Eze don't go to Tottenham because Spurs were courting him even then. He was a guest with the director of finance. Obviously, they were courting him. Doesn't mean they were going to get him. They were courting him, and then I don't know. The interest dropped off. There was problems with Angelos, and then this season, obviously, Arsenal been courting him because obviously it's something that I wanted in December. But what's gone on with Eze is two things. First and foremost, Arsenal have to sell. Now, this is something that I was mentioning all the way back when we were doing our off-season shows. You need to sell. You need to sell a big star. You need to look at Martinelli, look at Trossard. In order to get the sort of targets we need, we have to sell. Zubimendi was already through the door. We knew that was happening. Madueke was offered to us, and Arsenal duly accepted. That's a fact. And Berta's got his fingerprints all over this. And then when you looked at the Eze situation, it was a case where if Arsenal are going to make all these big signings, which they have to, balance the books. All I was hearing from, Arsenal sort of lobbyists or Arteta lobbyists, don't worry about PSR, don't worry about FFP. We've got enough money. We're comfortably behind it. Well, we now know we're not. We now know that's a stumbling block. Eze himself is a very interesting one because don't buy into the fact that he says he's an Arsenal supporter. So what? The majority of people support Arsenal. Doesn't mean they want to play for them. You've got to think about the whole situation. Would our manager, this Get rid of Odegaard to play Eze. I'm not sure about that. When you look at Spurs as well, Maddison's out of the team, although I don't see what the dilemma's there. I've said many times about Maddison. Maddison's the type of guy. He reminds me of the guy who looks the part. You know, got the girls, got the PR machine, got the agent, got the Twitter account, got all these social media accounts, part of a pop group, got the hair. Everyone screams at him, screams for his name, but he can't sing. That's Maddison. So there's no worries there anyway. The fact is he's going to get first team football at Tottenham in World Cup year. And they're in the Champions League. So you can't say, oh, the stumbling block to come to Arsenal was the Champions League. No. We are going to be playing bigger games because we are going to go for the league. We're probably going to go deep in the Champions League. But the situation is that Arsenal have a conundrum because we're now in a situation where Berta has to do phase 3 of his job, which is to try and get some players out. There's a couple of players I think is a stumbling block. Trossard's still there. Martinelli's still there. I think Mick Arteta may not want to sell Martinelli. He may need Martinelli because Martinelli, off the ball defensively, might give him what he needs. So if we're not selling the big players and we spend all this money, then I think that's our transfer position's done. But if I was Eze, it's a difficult decision for him. But Eze has to look at the bigger picture for himself. He's 27. The World Cup is coming next year. He's going to be 28. The next World Cup is going to be in 4 years' time when he's 32. Does he want to be potentially a bit part player at Arsenal? And the reason why he'd be a bit part player is not because it's something we want. It's because I don't see the manager displacing Odegaard. He goes to Tottenham. He could play in the Song position or even play in the Maddison position. But either way, he's starting games week in, week out, like he does at Crystal Palace. Money, going deep in competitions as a squad player or regular first-team football in World Cup year. You decide.
This is an interesting one for me, Brandon, because I truly believe if he wants Arsenal and Arsenal want him, that he's going to come to Arsenal. I understand what Kenny's saying in relation to first-team football, but Tottenham Hotspur right now, they do not look like they've got a bright future in comparison to Arsenal, as much as we've got problems. Having said that, some players want to play every game. And I've got to say, I've always had a question mark over where Eze fits in at Arsenal. I don't think he's a left winger. I do think he's an attacking midfielder. Now, if it's up to me and I'm the manager, I'll play him every game in that number 10 position. However, I don't think he's going to do that, Mikel Arteta, because that's his captain. And Odegaard is staying, and Odegaard is going to be playing every game. So do you think Eze could go Spurs, or do you think we'll end up getting him in the end, bruv?
I don't think we'll get him down because I don't think we want him. I've got to be honest. I don't think Arsenal truly want Eze. There was a release clause there. We let that expire. You know, Palace will be looking at that thinking, well, these guys have spent £52 million on Madueke. Eze's miles a better player. We could ask for 80 million from Arsenal. So I think if we genuinely wanted Eze, we would have activated the release clause and just brought him in. But I think you're right. I think the manager's the biggest problem. The manager, to me, I mean, I was at the Emirates at the weekend, right? And everybody can give me a big slap on the hand because I was there paying £15 for a hot dog, £9 for a pint of beer, funding the fucking club. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, give me a big slap on the hand for that. But I looked at that team at the weekend and I looked at the manager, and you can always tell as well with the reaction and, you know, in the way that he's using the squad. I'm looking at a guy there on the sidelines that looks like he's happy with this squad. I don't see Mikel Arteta being uncontent with this squad. I think he's happy with what he's got. I don't think he feels like he needs an Eze, even though we desperately want competition for Odegaard in particular, and probably an upgrade in that area. But I don't think he looks at these players that are available, like your Rodrigos, like your Ezes, and goes, well, I desperately need them in this Arsenal team. I think he's happy with this squad. I genuinely do. And if that is the case, let me tell everybody here, right now, Arsenal are a top 4 team at best. At best. Because I'm watching the likes of Liverpool. Yeah, everybody say, how are they doing it? They're going to go and drop 120 odd million pound on Isaac. You know, they're talking about bringing in Mark Gahey, and there was another young defender that was linked to him today. After they've spent all that money, sales is the key. As Kenny just pointed out, sales is the key. Liverpool so far in this transfer window have recouped 177.2 million pounds, and that doesn't include the add-ons from the player sales, right? So it could be more than that. But just based off the initial fee, the guaranteed money that they are receiving for each individual player, 177 million pound has been recouped. How much has Arsenal recouped? Nothing. So there's a reason why the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Man City can continue spending, because they sell well. Arsenal don't sell well. And like Kenny was saying, there's two different parts to this transfer window. There's the buys and bringing players in, but the sales is a key part as well to keeping the club, you know, being able to spend the money that it was required to keep them at the top. Arsenal don't sell at all. Like, we haven't sold. Who have we actually sold this summer? I'm looking at a bag full of players here that shouldn't be at the football club anymore. Let's just be real about it. They shouldn't be here. But we can't get rid of them because they're on such ridiculous wages. So, you know, we know that Arsenal as a football club are a very, let's self-sustain. You know, we don't go around breaking rules, etc., about PSR. We're one of the clubs that follow that, you know, to the letter of the law. So we can't continue to keep spending big money without player sales. So we've prioritized, in my opinion, Madueke, for example, over Rodrygo, over Eze, when really and truly what should have been is we should have been bringing in one of them two as one of our main targets. And then come the end of the transfer window, if we've got a little bit of money left and we need a squad filler, go and get Madueke then. Yeah? But we see Arsenal make the same repetitive mistakes year in, year out. Yeah? And now we're all shitting ourselves because it's looking like Man City are going to go and get Donnarumma, one of the best goalkeepers in world football, to replace Ederson. It's looking like they're going to, you know, potentially bring in Rodrygo. I think if Rodrygo was to leave Real Madrid, there's no, you know, guarantee there that he will. But I think if he was to leave Real Madrid, of course, Manchester City would be one of the most, you know,
favourites to get
destinations for him to go.
Yeah,
you know, and then you're looking at Liverpool they've still got bags of money there to spend. These clubs are not resting on their laurels. Yeah, they're going bang, 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 bang. Oh, and by the way, we still want more. What are Arsenal doing? We're happy with what we've got. And every single year we've done that. We've left ourselves short, and it ends up biting us in the end. It does. It ends up biting us in the end. Just, I know you didn't ask me about this as well, Dan, but I just want to bring this up real quick. On Saturday, I had a great view of the pitch. I could see the whole pitch. I could see, you know, players' movements on the pitch, the whole lot, right? I don't just focus on the ball and what the ball's doing. I like to watch what players are doing off the ball as well. Another worrying thing for me, although that was our best performance in pre-season, Atletico Bilbao were shocking, by the way, right? But that was our best performance in pre-season. I'm still seeing the same things that Arsenal did last year and the year before. 3, 4, 5 touches on the ball before moving it on. I'm watching our brand new striker, having to adapt his game to the way that we play, right? Which is absolutely fine, because if you're a top player, you should be able to do that anyway, right? But at no point did I see this Arsenal side trying to do something different in order to get the best out of Gyökeres. The amount of times I watched Gyökeres on the defender's shoulder, Odegaard's got the ball, he's got the opportunity to play it through, and Gyökeres likes to make that run off the shoulder of the defender. We've seen it for Sporting. That's how he scored most of his goals. And he plays it sideways or backwards. And we're like, what are we doing to adapt to his game? Don't get it twisted. His goal that he scored at the weekend was brilliant, and it's great to see him get off the mark. But how many headers is he actually going to score for Arsenal? Let's just be real about it, right? We need this guy in and around the box. We need him making runs off the defender like he was doing for Sporting. in order to get the best out of him. And for that to be possible, that means that this Arsenal side has to move the ball quicker. We have to be a lot quicker in transition. We have to stop with this slow sideways backwards. Oh, let's build up. Oh, no, let's go backwards. Oh, yeah, let's do. It's the same thing. So we're not learning from our mistakes in the transfer window, number one, but we're also not learning from our mistakes and what has cost us on the pitch for the past 2 seasons. So I'm worried about us this season. I can't lie to you. I am worried about Arsenal this season.
Okay. Matty, Brandon brought up Rodrygo there. We're going to mention both Eze and Rodrygo. Do you think Berta's going to react now? Does he just go and show ambition? LB's in the chat. Big up to LB talking about why don't Arsenal just go and lump 100 M's on Rodrygo? Why don't they go and get Eze? I don't understand it for me. Kenny said we got to sell before we buy. I'm looking at the ownership then, thinking what's going on. And we got billionaire owners that are supposed to be giving us money to invest, I was told by Josh Kroenke. We're ready to invest. And now we've got to sell players. Like, what's happening here? Really, seriously, mate, what's going on?
I'm in the same camp as Kenny. Sell before we buy. We knew this was going to be an issue coming into this to the summer. The wage bill. We've been screaming that wage bill since last year, and as I've been referring to it, the wages of sin. I've been telling you these wages have been here since last year, and now it is reared its ugly head. And I'm in the camp as Brandon. If we're getting Madueke, that should be the very last thing that's coming in after all of the serious business has been done. Now, what we've done is we've made signings, and other teams have reacted to that and said, well, we'll get this, we'll get this, we'll get this, we'll get this. And then we're looking around like, oh, well, we still need this, we still need that. Me and Kenny had a very good conversation earlier this morning on the phone. And I told him the same exact thing I'm going to say right here. There's no way you're telling me we spent $50 million on Madueke and he's not the left winger for this year. Where have we seen this at? Kai Havertz. This is that situation all over again in a new position. And now we're going to be sitting right here having a hope. And I'm hoping, because that's all the hope we have, is the hope that he can come in this year and actually provide something to do something, because he's playing that position this year. Much as everybody wants Eze, much as everybody wants Rodrygo, Madueke is playing that. Where did he play at this? The last 2 preseason games, where has he came in and substituted?
Left wing, man.
To the left wing. That is the position he will be playing. Lee was saying that when we signed him, he said he's going right over there to the left wing. Nobody wanted to hear it. They said, oh, you're going to move it. Oh, yeah, he's coming in for soccer, coverage for soccer. But no, he's right there on the left wing where he's going to be there. And that's going to be our left winger for this year. If anything, the next piece of business we'll do is probably get maybe Lakonga out, maybe get another body out. But that's probably going to be it. We're probably, as Brandon stated, he had a front row seat at it this weekend. That's pretty much the team. That's the way I looked at it. When I looked at the lineup, I said he'll probably make 1 or 2 changes for the United game, but this is pretty much the way it's going to be for the rest of this year. I don't see anybody of anything major coming in the door. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I'm just telling you, people, if you know me by now, you know I deal in reality. The reality of the situation is our wages have messed us up to the point where we cannot move some of these players. People are coming to the door for players like Zinchenko. And what's the stumbling block? He's not going to want to go from 150,000 pounds down to 40 to 50,000 pounds in the middle when he can keep the money, making the money he's making. And a lot of these players like Eze, they're not going to be coming here knowing that they're going to be sitting behind people like Havertz and Odegaard in the middle of a World Cup year. It ain't happening. Anybody that's on the fringes that are trying to get into their squad for the World Cup are not going to do that. So if we wanted some of these players, as soon as, and how many times did we all see here last year, soon as the transfer window opened, we should have been knocking on doors, getting every single thing in order. We should only be talking about the final 2 signings that we need. Madueke should be coming in now. That should be the signing coming in now. We should be getting complimentary players coming in now. All of the serious business should have been done right when that window opened up. When everybody was using the excuses. Oh, well, it's only the first 30 days of June. Remember that one, JB? Oh, it's only the first few days. This is the first window. The World Cup. You know, we can wait. We can wait. Well, now all of a sudden that's passed. Everybody's going out buying. And people are starting to throw out Lookman. But I'll throw this your way too. Me and Kenny had a conversation this morning. I said this. Newcastle are going to have to go find a replacement for Isak. So whatever they can get their hands on, they're going to be trying to go for that as well. So all of these players are starting to get dry. The well is starting to dry up now. And so now we're looking around, scrambling and scrounging, and people are starting to look and realize, well, we're still a few players short. We're technically about 3 injuries away from being back to the same team as last season. Nobody wants to bring that up. Nobody wants to address that. Nobody wants to address the fact that we are 3 or 4 injuries right back to the squad. If Gyökeres was to pull a hamstring next week, guess who's the starting striker? And then if the one behind that comes down, guess who's the midfielder that's coming back up there to be a striker again? It's the same team over and over. All of this is done because what we have done in the past is finally catching up with us.
So who do you want though?
For me, it doesn't even matter because this is the final year for me in either way it goes.
No.
So
Don't do the don't matter thing. Who do you want though? Because Dan's question. No one's answered Dan's question. Dan was talking about Eze, and you lot are talking about other things.
Wait. Just answer the question. I'm going to answer the question. You're asking me a question that I've literally just told you. Eze's probably not coming here because he's not sitting behind anybody. He's going to want to play because he wants to be in the World Cup. Then the second person, Rodrygo, if we really wanted Rodrygo, we would have had first dibs at him when the window opened. He was right there. Do you want Eze though? Do you want Eze?
It doesn't matter to me.
We need both.
Dave, we need both.
At this stage, I agree with that. But I want to know, do you think we should try and sign Eze though? That's what I'm asking. I don't know if you think we should.
100%.
If we're genuinely interested in the player, and there's mutual agreement, everybody's on the same page, and the money's there, go for it. But see, go on. Sorry. If we really wanted the player, at this stage of the game, we would have went for him. This is like leaving it too late. We're leaving it too late again. This is a habit we've been doing for the last few years. Why does Arsenal wait until the 11th hour?
We didn't wait. The whole point was we signed players early. That's the whole point. We signed Madueke early. We signed.
But you're asking me right now, do I want Eze Rodrygo?
No, that's not. No, I didn't ask you that. I didn't say do you want Eze or Rodrygo. I asked you, do you want Eze? And the reason why I'm asking you that is because you're saying that we're waiting, and I'm saying this summer we actually didn't wait. We actually bought players. You just don't like the players that we bought. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, but do you know what? Do you know what the difference is though, D? Right, is what me and Matty are talking about is get your priority signings in first. What Arsenal did was we went and got squad fillers first. Yeah, so. The likes of Eze,
our first signing.
Hang on. The likes of Eze, the likes of Rodrygo, they should have been the first ones coming in because they're going to make a difference between Arsenal winning and not winning the league. Then the squad fillers should come in.
We should have been unveiling there.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I think the point you're missing is we did do that with certain players. So we did it with, say, for example, Zubimendi, and we did do it with Gyökeres. Like Gyökeres obviously was a lot harder. He was going through a gentleman's agreement. We know that can't be done in the first week of the summer or whatever. But we did do it with a couple of the signings. I understand that you're saying the Eze deal and stuff like that. But what I'm saying about the Eze deal is what I want to know is if you want him, like us, man, I'm talking about us on the panel, then you can't be annoyed at Arsenal for trying to get him. You're saying we're waiting, but I'm saying you're assuming
but now it's at the expense that you want. That's the problem. Those players are fine, but now it's at the expense of Eze that you would take, Lookman that you would take, Rodrygo that you would take. That's who you want. That's who you want. Okay, you would want Madueke over those wingers that I mentioned. You would want Madueke.
No. You're not understanding. I'm not saying whether or not who's better. I'm saying if you're saying we're waiting to the last minute, I'm saying we haven't waited to the last minute. If Arteta thinks that Madueke
to the expense of certain players, which is why we're underbidding because it seems like we ain't got the P's. When this club told us getting Madueke will not stop us getting Eze, then why are we underbidding? We knew what the price tag was.
But Eze hasn't gone to anyone yet.
He hasn't. But when he does, and we're underbidding, then what's the excuse then? We've seen this.
But we're not there yet, though. We're not there yet.
Okay, so we'll judge it when we're there. And this is the problem with this club.
That's the point.
The problem with this club, though, D. Yeah, the problem with this fan base, yes, we'll judge it when things go sideways. Last season, when we said the bench wasn't good enough, why are you not complaining? We'll judge it when the league is done. When the league is done, it's too late. Do you know what the biggest problem with Arsenal? We're reactionary instead of proactive. That is the biggest gripe I have about this club.
But we haven't been that this year, though.
Believe. When we said, hold on, when we said, that Havertz ain't good enough, this is the same fan base that told us, if you can't see what Havertz is doing, you can F off down the lane. This is the same fan base that then changed that around and say, we need a top goal scorer. Hold on. Let me land my point. Let me land my point.
Stick to the topic, though.
Let me land my point then, and then you can.
No, but you cutting me, though. You cut me in. No, but you cut me in.
I won't cut you in no more. I'll let you land my point. I'll shut up. Yeah, let me land my point. I won't cut you up no more.
Yeah, go on.
The same fan base that told us, if you can't see what Havertz is doing, is the same fan base that in January were crying out for a goal scorer, and we told them that Havertz wouldn't be enough. They wanted to wait and see with Havertz. We didn't win the league again. The same fan base that told us Zinchenko is pivotal to the way that we play football is now the same fan base that said that Calafiori is going to unlock Martinelli, which is now the same fan base now that are all behind Skelly. We move. The same fan base that told us that Kivior is going to be one of the best defenders because Juventus were in for him are the same fan base that I'm more than happy for Kivior to be sold, which we've been trying to sell him since January. The same fan base that told us that Martinelli is on par with Saka is the same fan base that's saying we need to get him off the wage bill because he's way too much money and he's not actually been of the level. The same fan base that was saying you can't see what Jesus is bringing to the team as the same fan base that now don't even want him starting. The same fan base that told us that Fabi Vieira is going to be a baller. So we've been waiting and seeing behind everything this fan base has been saying along 5 years. So when we rebuttal what they say is because they've gone back. The majority of this fan base, I'm not saying necessarily you because I haven't heard your opinion for the last 5 years. This fan base, with everything that they've been saying, Fabi Vieira is going to be a baller. Lokonga is going to grow. ESR is going to be part of the youth squad. Runnison and Ramsdale is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. We're going to go with flipping re-signing Nketiah to 100k and Reece Nelson to 100k. These are all things that this fan base was behind and told us, wait, judge it later. Well, guess what? The late has now arrived. And 95% of the things that they've said, they now go back on. 2 years ago, we were calling out Odegaard, saying that Odegaard isn't good enough. The big games, they don't turn up. But the fan base were behind 70% of what he does within the season, saying, yo, you can't get better than Odegaard. Really? We've been calling for Eze for the last couple of years. We called for Elise, to be frankly honest. But what did the fan base say now? The narrative spun now. We need Eze as the final piece. And this is why this section of the fan base, called them out. Because you know why? They talk all this stuff about wait. At first, it was Fabi Vieira, Kivior, all these players, they're project players. They're going to grow together. Then when we're getting rid of the project players, but they weren't good enough. Then when we get certain players that are going to unlock other players, but we got Skelly now. But you weren't hyping Skelly. You were hyping Calafiori, saying that he's the Maldini of defenders. This is why we're sick and tired of the wait. They told us it took Klopp 4 years. This was the time frame that they gave us. It took Klopp 4 years. Phase 6. Can we not hold them accountable? They told us to wait. We have waited. We've actually waited over the time frame that they gave us. Now we can't judge. We couldn't judge in phase 1. We couldn't judge in phase 2. We couldn't judge in phase 3. Phase 4, we couldn't judge, but they told us it's a 4-year project. It's a youth project. Where's the trophies? They told us that these players are going to be pivotal. They told us these players are going to unlock other players. So when we're skeptical, it's because this whole waiting thing at Arsenal has not given us any big trophies. So now we've had enough. Now we can look back on it and say it's been 5 years now. We're on phase 6. We're not seeing anything different. And to be honest, before I let you go, D, and I won't cut you up anymore, why are we doing the same nonsense with the fullbacks that we were doing with Zinchenko? Why was Calafiori inverting? Atletico look absolutely rubbish against us. Do you know when they look dangerous? When we was doing the inverting thing. We conceded against Spurs. We did the inverting thing. We was actually all right. Calafiori's running across our box, putting us under pressure. We did this with Zinchenko and deemed it not good enough. Why are we going back to that? Why are we getting flipping Timber inverting as well, getting us under pressure? He lost the ball, didn't even track back. So when we're seeing the same nonsense that hasn't worked, we have reason and we actually have years of seeing the same nonsense to say, yo, this doesn't work. So our skepticism now is no longer about believing the manager. No. We can go back to phase 4. We can go back to phase 2. We can go back to phase 3 and say, yo, this ain't working. You're doing the same inverted stuff. I thought you went away from that when you played Kivior left back. I thought you went away from that. Lewis-Skelly was playing well last season, but now you're exposing him. But the same way you exposed Zinchenko, that wasn't a fullback. Why are we doing the inverting thing again? It didn't work. And now teams have sussed us out. And you're exposing somebody that's not even a left back. So then people are saying, oh, believe again. The best players of pre-season, the majority have been the young players. Why are you persistent playing Martinelli that's got no future that everybody's happy to get rid of? Show us something different. We had nothing different against PSG but long throw-ins. So why are you persistent again playing players that have no future at this football club? Why? They're not part of the future and they're not good enough to get over the line. So why are you playing them? People told us that we ripped up Tomiyasu's contract because he was injured. Then protect Zinchenko, protect Martinelli, hold them on the bench because they're not part of our future so that we can sell them. It's not making sense anymore. People want to make us go back to the things that haven't worked for us and told us believe. Why believing in what? I can't believe in something that's failed because it hasn't worked. We've given it time. It didn't work. So why are we reverting back to that?
Do you know, just to add to the point as well, real quick, yeah? Do you know why our young players have been our best players in pre-season? Because they haven't had the time with Mikel Arteta yet to make them robotic and system-based. They're just raw talent. Yeah, Max Dowman, raw talent. He hasn't had the time with Arteta yet to become a robotic system-based player that, you know, works in zones and in spaces. He's just a raw talent. He's a guy who wants to come on, prove himself, take a man on. Yeah, and we see this in the 21-22 season. Odegaard was sensational in that season. Why? Because he was given the freedom to play. Martinelli, yeah, was brilliant in that season, 15 goals, because he was given the freedom to play. All of a sudden now, these players don't have freedom no more. And then we're wondering why we're not getting over the line. The guy is a dictator. He's a dictator. And I'm telling you now, it doesn't matter who we sign, until we get rid of this manager, we ain't winning any major honours. We're not.
Okay, let me bring in the latest D. Let me just quickly, D. Let me just bring in the latest, D, because it will relate to what you're about to say. And DJ, I'm going to come to you next, man. But thanks for being patient. The latest on Eze is Arteta's understood to have identified Eze as a player capable of giving Arsenal an extra edge against deep defences. Arsenal have been leading the race for Eze, but are yet to send an offer to Palace. They have indicated they need to make sales in attack before pressing ahead with their pursuit. Spurs have opened talks over a move for Eze. However, they do not intend to meet the release clause, which expires on Friday. I've no idea if that's true, by the way. Some are saying it has and it hasn't. A further complication is that Arsenal are believed to be Eze's favoured destination should he leave Crystal Palace. So, D, as you're coming in on the Eze thing, is it still sounding like we could get him?
I think it's we're in a. I think it's a battle. It's going to be a battle with Tottenham. I find it harder though when we're talking to not. I'm more of a back and forth. I need to go back and forth because when I listen for 10 minutes to people talking,
yeah,
you're making like 20 different points. You know what I mean? Like I need to go back and forth so we can argue about those points. I can't listen for 10 minutes and then you talk for 15 minutes because you're making 1 minute you're talking about Zinchenko, then you're talking about the transfer market, then you're talking about Berta, then you're talking about the Cronkies. Like I can't. It's hard for me because once you finished your point and someone else comes in, I'm now on a new point. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier for me to just go back and forth there and then and do the same for me as well. If I'm saying something now, just say what you want to say there and then, and we can just go back and forth then. But I find like in terms of Eze, I've always wanted Eze. So for me, I'm happy that the club are trying to get Eze if that's what I feel that's happening. But it's hard for me to understand like why people are criticizing the team going for Eze if they want him. I don't know. If they don't want him, then fair enough. But if they do want him, then I'm not sure what there is that they're asking for us to have done by now. That's what I want to know from the panel. I want to know what it is that they think that we should have done by now. Like I don't know what it is.
Well, let's say you want to come in there.
Pure and simple. What we should have done was made as we should have in June, because he's just identified Eze as a player we need to deal with low blocks. Well, if he knows that now, why didn't he know it at the end of the season? And why didn't he go in for Eze big time in June? He knew the release.
We were going for Rodrygo as well, weren't we? There was back and forth.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, was we really seriously going for him? Because at the end of the day, if you're a serious club like Liverpool was when they got Wirtz and when Man United got their first signing within a couple of days of the window opening in Cunha, why weren't we then going for Eze then? If he knew what he needed, he's just said after what Dan's just said, Eze is clearly a player that Arsenal need because Arteta's identified him to deal with low blocks. Well, he's known that then, hasn't he? He's known that. So now Spurs are suddenly interested. oh, hang on a minute, we better make a move now. Now the horse has bolted and we can't get it back, we're suddenly trying to chase after it. It's ridiculous. We've not acted like a big club. And the problem is mismanagement over years. Players that have been bought have not been good enough. The wages are too high. And now it's all come round to kick us up the backside. We've got players we can't shift. No team wants us. Name me a team that wants Fabio Vieira. Name me a team that wants Zinchenko. Name me a team that wants Nelson. Name me a team that was going to bite our hands off to go and get Martinelli. Who's coming in for Martinelli? Who's queuing up for Martinelli? They were queuing up years ago. Klopp wanted him under Unai Emery. Now we can't get rid of him.
No, I agree with that.
You got all these players. You got all these players stagnating at the football club, and we can't bring in players to make our club even better. And
but that's mistakes. That's mistakes that's happened in the past. We know that that's happened.
It is mistakes what's happened in the past, and this is why we're bringing the manager accountable, because there's too many mistakes, and we've trusted process and we've trusted phases.
Got to change, innit?
And it's not working. It has got to change. Yes, the manager should have gone. He should not have been in the door this season. He should not have been given another season. You cannot have a manager.
I don't know if you're not doing this on purpose. I don't know if it's like
no. But you asked me a question. Mistakes. I'm fed up of mistakes now. I'm fed up.
No, but we're rectifying them now. Once the mistake's been made, you can't go back.
Rectifying.
D. How are we rectifying mistakes when we can't get rid of players out of the club? How are we rectifying mistakes when we're in a battle with Eze against Tottenham, for God's sake, that would have been relegated if the other teams had put on a show? How are we in this position? And I've said this before, for how long this manager has been at this football club, for the amount of money that's been spent, we should now be favourites to win the Premiership. Clubs should be looking at us and going, wow, look what Arsenal have done. Not us looking at Liverpool going, oh, God, look at Liverpool. Oh, look what Man City, Donnarumma, this one, that one. Couldn't get Rodrygo. We should be in that position.
If the manager comes in...
Let me just land this, right? Let me land this. We should be in a position where Mikel Arteta is struggling to pick his best 11. We should have players at this football club where Mikel Arteta has got an headache of thinking, who do I play? Who do I play? I've got this one. I've got that one. I've got this one. I've got that one. No, he's going to pick the same team. We're still going to have Odegaard running around in circles as our number 10, as our main captain. And let me land this before I go. If Rice or Zubimendi get injured, you are telling me that after going into a 7th season with nearly £1 billion spent on it, Marino and Odegaard is going to take us to win the Premier League and the Champions League. And we're all meant to be happy and not question it.
That wasn't my point.
As for Eze, we've missed it. We should have.
Let me ask you this, right? Because I know you want the back and forth.
Yeah, go on.
Madueke, right?
Mm.
Why do you think Arsenal decided to sign Madueke?
Because he thought that was the right player for the club.
No.
What do you mean why?
Let me put this scenario to you, right? I believe that Arsenal were interested in Eze, right? I believe they probably did look at Eze as a player that, the manager maybe identified as somebody who could help with low blocks and etc. He had a release clause, right? A release clause means that the football club, who owns the player, i.e. Crystal Palace, is going to want the full release clause up front, or in a minimum of maybe 2 installments, right? Arsenal, because of our financial situation and because of how poorly we've sold over the years and because of how our wage structure is, we can only do big deals on a Klarna team. So it was easy to sign Madueke because Chelsea are quite happy for us to pay them 10, 15 million pound a year for the next 4 to 5 years. Crystal Palace would not be happy selling their main asset on a Klarna thing, mate. Yeah, trust me, they would want big money up front, which is why Arsenal have waited so long for that release clause to expire in order to try and get a cheaper deal for Eze. But now Spurs have come in, and Spurs, we know, are flush with cash, right? They are flush with cash, right? And they can go and pay more up front for Eze than what we can. So the whole point that we're trying to make is, if Arsenal were desperate for Eze, why did we prioritise Madueke over Eze? Why didn't we get Eze first and then do a deal for Madueke? Let me tell you why. Because Arsenal's financial situation is diabolical, and we have to do big deals on a Klarna thing. That's
exactly. So that's the point. That's the whole point. That's exactly my point. That's exactly.
So
what's
it's all
happening.
well and good you sitting here and saying, well, you know, we should be happy that the club are.
But you should. But you've just said it. You should understand why it's happened. Then you should understand why it's happened. That's what you've just laid it all out. So you should understand exactly why we've done it that way. I don't understand. You've just literally said it all.
Yeah, I have just said it all. But what I'm saying is that right?
But what I'm saying is, even if there was a different manager here, it wouldn't make no difference. What difference would these deals have made? The deals would have been the same.
Yeah, but it's because hang on, it's because
we have Havertz as our highest.
You're right.
I'm talking about a new manager now. I'm talking about if we've got a new manager in right now, Havertz is still at the club, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and we wouldn't be. And we would also be playing our youngsters that even you can agree have been playing better than players that have been under this manager for years and are not turning out the performances that the youngsters coming through the academy are performing. How is Ethan playing better than Odegaard? How is Dalman a better developed player that's just come through the youth academy, better than Martinelli that's been under this manager for years? How's that happening? How is flipping Jesus and Havertz falling off the way that they've fallen off? Havertz ain't turned up. Don't get fooled by that goal. They don't turn up in the big games. He don't turn up in the big games. He don't turn up when we need him. Let's just keep it 100. Yeah, okay, you can say right now if we add them, but guess what? If a manager had the time that this manager had, Havertz wouldn't be our highest earner. Jesus wouldn't be our second highest earner. Martinelli wouldn't be on 180k. We wouldn't be re-signing Nketiahs and Reece Nelsons to 100k, which is why we can't get rid of Reece Nelson to Fulham, because they're like, we're not paying 100k because the smaller teams have clued up. They're not stupid like we are, that we put players on stupid wages. When you look at our wage bill, there's players that have won multiple titles at Liverpool, not on the wages that some of our players are on, and they ain't won nothing. They ain't won nothing. So all of this has been created. When you mentioned about, but we're trying to rectify the mistakes. Okay, then get rid of Zinchenko. Okay, then get rid of Kivio. Okay, sell Martinelli. Okay, get rid of Jesus. Okay, get some money in for Havertz. These are your mistakes. Get rid of Lokonga and Fabi Vieira. If you want to rectify your mistakes, get rid of them, because a top manager wouldn't have signed them, because he would have already known these ain't the guys. These are not the guys to push us forward. We're not rectifying our mistakes. I was on a stream
last week on this same panel, and everyone was telling me Zubimendi wasn't that good. This is the same type of panel. Everyone was telling me Zubimendi wasn't that good. He's not an upgrade.
Who told you that?
Norgard's not a good signing. Jorginho's better than
Norgard. Is not a good signing. Norgard is not a good signing.
All right, so Norgard's a terrible signing now as well. Is Zubimendi a good signing?
Average signing. No, there's not just terrible. There's other words. It's called.
All right, how about Zubimendi? How about Zubimendi?
Zubimendi looked really good. I put him as a man of the match against Bilbao, but he has to prove it in the Prem. I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
Gyökeres, very good signing. That was exactly the striker that I wanted. When this club does what I want them to do, I praise them.
All right, fine. And what I'm saying is now, Eze hasn't gone anywhere yet, has he? He's not gone anywhere. He's still at Crystal Palace. So the point is, I don't know if we're saying we shouldn't go for Eze, or if we're saying we want Eze, because everyone keeps saying, what we did made mistakes in the past, and we did this, but I don't know what that's got. I want to know whether people
not one person has said that they want Eze. What we've done, we've analysed what we got in front of us in terms of, and we've, as a balanced panel, we talked about the obstacles. Not one person doesn't want Eze. Everyone
this panel's not balanced, by the way, but go on.
I actually agree with that. That's my bad.
But you think balance is all about manager in and manager out. But on this subject, we have been balanced. We've all looked at we all analysed the reasons why it's a competition between Spurs and Arsenal. Just because we're saying that he's more likely to get first team football at Spurs doesn't mean we don't want Eze. Just because I've said on many occasions we've got to sell players in order to get the deal over doesn't mean we don't want Eze. These are just footballing facts. The fact is that all this not garbage and rubbish we hear from a lot of people that, oh, forget about PSR. It's financial madness. It was always a situation that we were always going to be short of our targets if we don't sell players. It doesn't make sense. Especially the statement Dan read out is that Arsenal have to look to move on forward players in the forward line. Well, the players in the forward line that I'm thinking of is Trossard and Martinelli, and maybe Reece Nelson. But Martinelli's an interesting one because he's a first team player. Whether we like it or not, his performances in the last 2 seasons have been well below par. Last season it was awful. You can blame the manager, you can blame it. The fact is that Saka has the same constraints. And even with Saka out 3 months, he did more than Martinelli in a short space of time that he played than Martinelli did all season. You can't deny that. So all we're saying is that we've been watching football for a long time. We're not like certain fans who are the equivalent of people who read books who just look at the pictures. I think some of us do know about the business of football, do know about, like tactics, our managers, recruit players, our managers tap them up. We like to be part of the nitty-gritty. And the nitty-gritty is that Eze is a player that I want very much. Is a player that Brandon wants. It's a player that DJB wants. A player that you want. Northside wants. And Dan wants. We all want him here, but we're realistic to the extent that we may not get him, and the club are giving him reasons why it might be an obstacle. But for me, I sleep well at night because I'm actually shocked that Spurs haven't got him. But doesn't mean I don't want him. I'm just talking about it. That's all we said.
Spurs haven't got him.
That's why I say balanced on this issue. It may be not balanced when it comes to you being Arteta back and all of us wanting to change. Yeah, that's not balanced in that. But on an issues regarding players, this is a thing, it is balanced.
Okay, well, firstly, I'm not worried. Well, the first thing is I'm not worried about you not being Arteta out and me being Arteta in. Trust me, that's neither here nor there for me. That's the first thing. Secondly, you said that Eze's gone to Tottenham. He hasn't gone to Tottenham yet.
I never said no one said he's going to Tottenham. We said that Tottenham for the mix. No one said he's going to Tottenham. But what I'm saying is, when you're saying that you're saying that he hasn't gone to Tottenham yet. So my point is, if he hasn't gone to anyone yet, how do you know that everyone hasn't got the same problems trying to get Eze?
Kenny gave reasons of why, if he didn't come to Arsenal, why
it's about Arsenal, though. We're Arsenal. We're not Tottenham sports. This is why Arsenal can't get him. And that is why it's taking a bit of time, because Arsenal have said what I was saying before, but they just made it official that when you spend all this money, there has to be recuperation. We've got to recruit some of these monies. And every time I mention Martinelli, people push back. You watched me on DG's show. You've seen how people push back. When all I want is the best for Arsenal. It's not personal. It's Martinelli. It's the fact is that you cannot do business and just spend without having to make a sacrifice.
The simple way to put it, D, is I believe that if it was a case of Arsenal and Spurs want him, I believe Eze would choose Arsenal. He's a previous, he was previously in our academy. He's an Arsenal fan, right? But the reason why Spurs are in a better position to sign him is because they have the finances. We don't, because of previous mistakes. And I just want to bring you back to one of the points that you made about how all the previous mistakes have already been made. So what difference would it make if we'd have sacked Arteta and brought in a new manager this season? We'd still be making, trying to correct them mistakes. Let me tell you something. If we'd have brought in another manager, there's a chance that another manager gets better out of this squad. In particular, the front three or front four. Because we know they're capable of doing it. We watched Martin Odegaard score 15 goals in 2021-22. We watched Martinelli score 15 goals in 21-22. Yeah, Saka was ripping it up. You got Gyökeres in there now, who's one of the most elite goal-scoring strikers in world football. You're telling me that another manager couldn't get better out of this team? And the reason why the front three and the front four in particular struggle is because everything's so robotic. Everything's so system-based. So, yeah, we've made errors in the past, and we'd still have them errors here affecting us now. But the truth is the squad that's available to this manager is at least good enough to win him a trophy.
Yeah, no one's denying that. It's two different conversations, though. The Eze conversation and winning the trophy.
Because you're asking us, like, sacking Arteta and bringing in another manager, what does it actually do for us? Well, that's what it does for us. There's potential.
That's not what I said. That's not
another manager gets better out of this.
The only thing I would say about Eze, I mean, look, the only thing I would say about Eze is taking my Arsenal hat off and looking at it from a player's perspective, as we said earlier on. If he came to Arsenal, if he had a choice now of us, let's say Arsenal and Spurs are in a bidding war or they're in a race, and you're and Eze sitting there, what first team football realistically? I mean, if it was me, he'd go straight into the 10 and Odegaard would be benched. However, I'm not Arteta. What realistic first team football on a regular basis is Eze going to get at Arsenal? Whereas if he goes to Tottenham, he's going to get probably regular first team football because of Maddison, Kulusevski's situation.
He'll play on the left.
No. He's not going to play on the left.
But then what's the point in Madueke?
That's the point I was making earlier, Brandon. That's the point I was making earlier, Brandon.
Listen, let me finish my point. He's not going to play on. Well, that is a turn off for Eze, because if Eze thinks he's coming to play on the left, Eze knows that is not his position. He knows that. Every single Crystal Palace fan will tell you Eze's position is not the left, right? If Eze thinks, right. If I'm Spurs and I go to Eze, right, you're going to play in the 10, we're going to build the team around you, you're going to take the role of Maddison, right? Everything's going to go through you, blah, blah, blah. He's going to think, World Cup year, wow. On the other side of the coin, he's having a chat with Arsenal and they're going to say, you're going to be our main left winger. He's going to think, hang on a minute, I don't really like it on the left. I'm not really comfortable on the left. This is what you've got to understand. He's going to, people in the chat said, why would he pick Spurs over Arsenal? And I get that. And I'm saying to you, from a player's perspective, where are you going to play at the latter end of your career the most games? Are you going to Arsenal to sit on the bench, be a squad player, or are you going to go Spurs and be a main player? Because he ain't going to play on the left. Madueke's playing on the left.
And JB, that's in a World Cup year.
I don't think I know what's going on there.
He's 27 years old. Hey, he's 27 years old. He's 27 years old, and this is probably going to be his one shot to probably get to a World Cup. And he's going to have to be playing to get into a World Cup. If he comes to Arsenal, if he comes to Arsenal, and we spent $50 million on Madueke, we spent $50 million on a player to just sit on the bench. That's what we've done.
Is that not what you are? Is that not what you did? You not say last year our bench wasn't strong enough? Is that not what you said? Is that not someone made earlier?
You see, you completely missed what I said. You completely missed what I said. We spent $50 million for a player to sit on the bench.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
In that, I rest my case.
What's wrong with that? No. I rest my case. Answer the question.
I rest my case. So you're telling me you would rather take. Wait a minute. You're telling me you would rather take the $50 million we paid on Madueke instead of sitting that $50 million aside and then applying that money to a player like Rodrygo. That's what you're telling me.
You said that's not what you said.
No, but but see, you're completely missing my point. I said $50 million for a player to sit on the bench. That's what I said. And then you want to go, no, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to use the point about us saying last year that the team was not strong enough to make your point to try to hammer home and to win. But I'm telling you, the $50 million that we paid for Madueke could have been used to go to a player that was better to go in that position and start and be ready to go. When the season starts.
And I said to you, like who? I said this before you started doing your whole little
you can go get Rodrygo. I just said if you take the $50 million, said if you take the $50 million that we pay for Madueke instead of buying Madueke, when the window opens, you go to Rodrygo. When they're over there having problems over Real Madrid, put the money on the table, the man's playing. But you want to keep going back to this argument about over and over and over and over and over. I'm not sitting here talking about Eze. And I'm telling you, the problem is we spent the money early, and what we should have been doing, we should have bought the players that we needed earlier, and we would have had those players here. We wouldn't even be talking about this.
All right, let me come in here. Right.
What, are you assuming that we didn't go for Rodrygo?
So what I'm going to say, D, right, is I think what you're about to.
Why is he go? Why is City linked to him?
when you said Madueke, what's wrong with paying 52 million or whatever it was you said, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with spending 52 million on Madueke if Eze comes in and Rodrygo comes in alongside it. If Madueke, we're spending 52 M's on him and that prevents us from getting Eze or Rodrygo or both, I will have serious concerns with that. Would you agree with that, D?
Yeah, of course. But that's not what they're saying. These lot are just saying the same thing over and over and over. It's like you got a script. At the end of the day, we're in the summer window. We've signed 2 players that are top players. Now you've got a Madueke on the pitch that you're thinking, okay, we don't want him to play. But if we do get Eze, then what you're going to say then? No, your argument's debunked, isn't it? If we do end up signing a left winger or another player, your whole argument is debunked. But your argument is now before the summer window's even over. I don't understand. You're just moaning before the window's even over. You don't even know
who's
we're going to get it.
Who's moaning? You describe moaning because I haven't moaned.
I've heard. If this is not moaning, then I don't know what moaning is. But
I haven't moaned. I've moaned.
No, you ain't moaned personally. You ain't moaned personally. But I've heard moaning today.
Eze's not a left winger. Eze's not a left. He's
not a left winger, but he's a better left winger. He's a better left winger than what we've got.
He's not a left winger.
He's better than what we've got on the left wing, though, isn't he? He's better than Martinelli left, and he's better than Madueke left, isn't he?
So you want better than what we've got, which is our overall point. We want better than what we've got. If we get better than what we've got, we want starters. Eze is a starter, right? Zubamendi, starter. Gyökeres, starter. They actually moved the club forward in terms of competing for the league. Madueke, he's a starter because the bar is so low, but he's not good enough. Kind of like Calafiori, which is why Skelly is making him hold bench. We want players, when you talk about fixing the bench, do you know the best way to fix the bench? Get better than what you have, or at least get better than players that can actually compete to start. Go and get better than what we have, because what we currently have has not been able to get us over the line in numerous years. So go get better than what we have. That is what we're talking about. And when this fan base make excuses about there's no one available, the whole time they've been saying there's no one available, there's been multiple strikers and multiple players that we could go out and get. Like Southern Guna said, Gyökeres gets injured, we're back to Havertz and Jesus. Zubamendi gets injured, preseason. Anybody impressed by the double pivot of Moreno and Norgard? Anybody impressed? We lost those games. Okay. So we don't have a backup to that. Anybody impressed the Newcastle game when we're conceding goals with Kivio at the back? Anybody impressed? But that's going to be your guy if we get injuries. Anybody impressed with Calafiori and Zinchenko? Well, best believe if Skelly gets injured, that's what we're back to. This is what we're talking about. We want players, that are going to push for the starting 11, because this whole process, has been with players that comfortably hold bench. Nketiah, comfortably held bench. Trusty, comfortably held bench. Comfortably holding bench. We want players that are going to start, because this thing about comfortably holding bench, it's all great until we have to use them. And then the fan base cry about injuries. You're only talking about injuries because you don't believe in the players on the bench. So if you don't believe in the players on the bench, let's go get starters then, innit? Then we actually have competitive players. Because if Diamond comes off the bench, he can change a game. If Ethan comes off the bench, he could change the game. If Norgard comes off the bench, what's he doing? He's a steady Eddie. Just like El Nene. It's a very similar type of signing. Steady Eddie. And those steady Eddies ain't got us nowhere. Kivio's a steady Eddie like Rob Holding. Where did it get us? We didn't win anything, did it? We didn't win anything with these steady Eddies that can do a job. So we're tired of this. We can do a job. But he's better than what we have. If the bar is on the floor, like our left-hand side of our attack, what are we even doing here? Statistically, Madueke statistically has been worse than Martinelli and Trossard, yet all of us want him gone. So why am I going to applaud a player that's worse than the 2 players that we're trying to get rid of? Make that make sense to me, because that don't make no sense to me. But then this fan base say it's not about XG. The same fan base that now care about XG when we go and get Gyökeres. But they didn't care about XG when it was Havertz, because it was an agenda because he came to Arsenal. We're not hearing it. Go and get players that are clearly available and are out there. Lookman, Madueke ain't even seeing the left-hand side. Eze, Odegaard sits on the bench. That is what we want. And the reason is because if I ask you right now, D, who's winning the league? Can you answer me that, D? Who's winning the league?
I would say Liverpool. Obviously, I've got a stream now. I've got a stream to do. I've got to go. But I think Liverpool are probably favourites. And then I would say us and Man City and Chelsea are kind of in a battle between each other.
So why are we not favourites?
Because Liverpool are.
Have we not done enough in the transfer window to be favourites?
Not yet. We still need to get maybe a left winger.
Exactly what we're talking about, though.
It's not exactly what you're talking about because you're trying to get Eze. Are you? I don't understand if.
We're trying to get Eze. Do you know why? Do you know why I'm skeptical? Because we tried to get Rafinha. We didn't get Rafinha. No, hold on. We tried to get Rafinha. We never got Rafinha. We tried to get Eze, Isak. We never got Isak. We tried to get Buendia. We didn't get him. Yeah. We tried to go out there and get Mudryk, even though thank God we didn't get Mudryk. We didn't get him. We tried to get Benzema back in the day. We tried to get Draxler. We've seen the story before. We tried to get Houssam Aouar. There's a reason why we're skeptical when it comes to this club, because there's multiple signings that we could have got.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
We was ahead of the race. Remember, Rafinha was supposed to come to us. Rafinha was supposed to come to us after Leeds. But who went in the race? Oh, because we took our time. And we've taken our time with Eze. And every time we take our time, most of the time, we miss out on targets that we would all take at this football club. That is where our skepticism comes from. They said, look how quickly they got Norgard over the line. Look how quickly they got these players over the line. Meet the valuation. If the club are being genuine, they told us the Madueke deal would not hinder the Eze deal. Don't go in with 52 million. It reminds me of Suarez, 40 million and £1. Go in there with at least 60 plus million with add-ons or performance add-ons. Be serious. So when we're talking about, we've seen, all of us here have seen us take our times with signings and not get them over. Once upon a time, we were supposed to go in for Basuma. He went to Spurs. These are just numerous players that we were supposed to be in for and we didn't get it. We were supposed to be linked to Hato. He's gone to Chelsea. There's multiple players that we were in for before other teams. And what did we do? Drag our feet. And then we didn't get over the line.
I don't mean to cut you because I actually have to go. I've got a stream now. I'm late. But what I'm going to do, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you lot. We'll just do 5v5 because you lot think that you know what I mean. You got your way of thinking. I actually enjoy it, by the way. So you lot think you got your way and that. I've got a whole set of people that think the way I think as well. So we can just go fight. Have any of you not got your coaching badge? Have any of you not got your coaching badge, by the way? Like, honestly, I'm actually being serious.
Bring it on.
Is one of them Miguel?
Have anyone got their coaching badges or play or whatever?
Nah.
No, okay, cool. So I'm gonna bring.
I'm just saying my opinion, D, bro. I'm just saying my opinion.
I know, but I'm gonna bring my opinion, and I'm gonna bring serious.
But D, I've been in your position, bro. I did in your position last season. I was on.
You know what it is. I actually enjoy all this. This is what I like. But the thing is, it's hard for me to go back and forth when I'm. You know, if there's like 5 people and you say the same thing, then you say something, I've got to wait, and then someone says that. It's harder for me to go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So. But we'll see, man. I'll be back next week. I'll bring it. Kenny, we'll go for what? See, Kenny's the only one that's enjoying it. Kenny's the only one that said, yeah, with passion. You're not scared. That's what I'm saying.
No, big deal.
I'm joking.
Nah, come on, D. Come on, bro. Pleasure, man.
Big up, D.
Always love, man. Take care, bro. Have a good stream, man. Have a good stream. Love, bro. Look, let's I've got 20 minutes until I'm on with judges, so we've got 20 minutes to do some quick fire stuff before we close. That was a good debate. I did feel for D a bit there because he was on his own, but you know, it is what it is. That's my fault.
They never felt for me. They never felt for me when it was like 6 top gooners here, and it's only me. They never felt for me.
Do you remember those days, North? Me and you used to get attacked.
Dan, I don't think people understand the fact that we've waited to the 11th hour. What we're all trying to say is, if that deal wanted to get done, that should have been way at the top of the totem pole. We should have been introducing Rodrygo, Eze, or whoever it was with Jokeris.
No, I agree.
We should have been looking at them the last 2 or 3 games.
I agree. And do you know what? It gave me PTSD when Northside was actually bringing up those names and shouting them at me. I was like shuddering at every single one, whether it was like Draxler, whether it was, I mean, he missed Caicedo was another one, by the way. But yeah, look, there's so many, man. There's so many. But,
do you know the other funny thing as well is if we had done it the right way round and we'd have left Madueke until later on in the window, we probably wouldn't have paid £52 million for him. We probably would have got him for
and no one would be mentioning it.
That's what I was trying to say.
Brandon, you made a good point there, because if it was the other way round and Spurs were now in for Madueke, no one would be debating it. They'd be going, "Oh yeah, Spurs are getting Madueke." But the problem, I think the problem is, I mean, all right, they said we like the ganging up. What they fail to remember is that we look at the bigger picture and we go by experience and we only go by what we see. And this is what. They like to paint pretty pictures and it's everything's rosy, and we've got Zubamendi and we've got Rice and we've got Gyökeres and all that. But what they fail to understand is if anything happens to these players, we're back to square one again.
Well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, but that's the thing. I've always been sort of like very strict. Like people say to me, why don't you rate transfer windows? And I say to them, well, it's the same thing. Like, you know, if you're doing your if you're meant to be doing your A levels when you're 18, and the year before you're doing AS levels, and after you do your A levels, your form tutor goes up to you and says, right, these are your 3 subjects. I'm predicting AAB. The next year, when you sit the exams, there's no guarantee you're going to get AAB. And that's what I'm trying to say with transfers. We don't know how they're going to work out. As much as we're anticipating that with Liverpool and new transfers that, you know, they strengthened, it's all about gelling. Is Frimpong the same player as Trent Alexander-Arnold, who admittedly isn't strong defensively, but from an offensive point of view, he's probably one of the best offensive right backs out there because of his delivery, his crossing, and his passing ability. And he obviously he's dead ball accuracy for free kicks and his shots from long distance. He's ineffective. Frimpong, is he going to be able to replicate? We don't know. Ekitike, is he going to be? But the man, is Isak going to be able to tell? We don't know. It's the same with our signings. As much as we have Gyökeres, Zubamendi, we have to wait till May for it to see where it's going to work out. And obviously the barometer is going to be collectively, if we win something big, if we win the league, these guys have to be the catalyst for us winning it. Zubamendi's got to boss the midfield, especially in Europe. Gyökeres has to get the goals we need, especially in those tight games. Sack, you know what I mean? Those are the signs we're looking at. Norgard, when there's injuries, he needs to come in and be able to fit in straight away and able to, you know, give us that physical presence in midfield in these big games where we might need a physical presence. Madueke on the wing, when on the one-on-ones, is he going to be able to do that? That's how I assess whether a player is successful or not. I have to watch them in competitive matches. On paper, it means nothing to me. Same, that's just the same. AS level, predicted grades for A levels. So what? Wait till you sit the exam.
Okay, look, to close, I've got a question for each of you. It's kind of a quick fire question. I was going to discuss it as a panel, but I just don't have time because I've got to shoot off. So I'm going to give them to each of you. Kenny, I'm actually going to start with you. Truth or trash statements. Zubamendi positively transform Arsenal's midfield.
True, because he brings a different dimension. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to be really, really quick. He's not a replacement for any of our players. What he does is that he can move the compass tactically to a different direction. So yeah, I think that's going to work.
Okay, interesting. I actually think he's been really good in pre-season. I've got to be honest with you. Brandon, Arsenal will get over 12 points in their first 6 games.
That's a difficult one. That's a very difficult one because we've got so many tough games in the first 6 games as well. So I'd like to think so, but I can't be sure. And just going back to the question that you gave to Kenny, I watched Zubamendi at the weekend. He was quality. And hopefully, fingers crossed, he can perform like that in the Premier League because the way he controlled that midfield with Declan Rice, he was quality. But yeah, hopefully we can get 12 points. Well, we need to really. If we've got a chance to win this league, we've got to get a minimum of that, really. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Matty, Arsenal won't be unlucky with injuries like they were last season.
I think we will have injuries this year. Brandon, you was at the game. You saw that run Declan Rice had to do? It can't have a whole lot of those going on this year. Otherwise, it's going to be trouble. Soccer still looks a little leggy. So, I think the injury bug I think that's still there. And that goes back to why I say we still have a couple of issues we need to solve. So,
I think we'll still get injuries this season purely and simply because we've got so many players that have come off the back of having surgery. So it's likely they're going to pick up niggles at least. But yeah, the way Arteta uses this squad and the lack of rotation that he provides to this squad, there's no doubt Arsenal are going to get injuries again this season. No doubt.
Okay. DJ, the last couple of seasons until last season, Ødegaard was one of Arsenal's best players. So is this truth or trash? Ødegaard will be one of Arsenal's best players this coming season.
Ødegaard, that's pretty trash. He ain't going to be one of our best players this season. I'm sorry, Dan. I was hoping the club would come in for Ødegaard and offer some big money for him because I would have liked to have seen him sold. Listen, I've got nothing against Ødegaard. He's had some moments with Arsenal. I just think there's certain players in any football team that kind of reach their levels. And I think Ødegaard is one of them that's reached his level. I don't think you can get any more. I don't think this manager particularly can get any more out of Ødegaard. Otherwise, you'd have started seeing that by now. So, no, I don't think he's going to be one of our best players. I like Zubimendi. I think with the ball, he's very, very good. I'll have to watch him game by game to see what he does without the ball. What happens there? I think with the ball, he's intelligent. Without the ball, I've not seen enough of him yet, so I'll pass my judgment on Zubimendi. But no, Ødegaard steps it up, and that's why I wanted Eze. And I've said it from day one. If Eze comes in, he goes straight in for the 10. He does all this left wing. No. If we do get Eze, straight into the number 10 for me.
I agree with that. I've got to be honest.
I don't want to come in on every question but yeah, with the Ødegaard, I don't think it's got anything to do with Ødegaard. I think it's the manager. I genuinely do.
Yeah, he's
programmed
the whole system and roboticness and constantly going over to the right hand side, not being given the freedom to actually do what a number 10 should do.
I don't blame Ødegaard personally.
I don't think Ødegaard's actually that much of a bad player. I think if you give him the freedom to play, I think he can be the guy that hurts teams. I think he can be. He's definitely got the talent to do that. We've seen it. The manager's the big problem with Ødegaard.
Yeah, interesting point. No, it's interesting. Big up to Rashid as well, who's rated over, man. Big up to you, bro. Make sure you go and show him some love and follow him as well on his channel. North, I've got a perfect one for you, bro, to end it. Arsenal will win a trophy this season. Truth or trash?
Take up another hobby. If you support Arsenal, take up another hobby. Look after your mental health. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't happening. That's all I'm saying, innit? So, yeah.
We've already won a trophy. Emirates Cup.
You got what?
True. And they'll probably count that, to be fair. They probably will. Look, a bit of fun at the end. I wanted to chuck some questions at you guys and see how you're feeling. I didn't want to do all predictions and who's going to be player of the season. And
Dan, you tell us where we finishing at this year, Dan?
Second again, LA.
You reckon second, Dan?
I do. A lot of people think fourth or fifth or sixth. I don't. I think that we will get a couple of more players in, and I think that we will come second to Liverpool. And I think Manchester City will be close to third, and Chelsea will be close to fourth as well. That's what I think.
Do you think?
I don't really care. I'll put it down this way: if we don't come first, I couldn't give a damn if we come second, third, or fourth. But if we come, if you had to tell me now, I'd say second, because I think that Liverpool chopping and changing quite a bit, but I still do think they're going to win it. Manchester City, I ain't convinced by the defense yet. If they signed Donnarumma and Rodrygo, different story. I'm only doing it by right now. I can only go by what I look at right now, right? Chelsea have got a clowning goal and a couple of clown defenders. That means they're not winning the league. But I like their attack and I like their midfield. So yeah, I don't buy this. Arsenal are going to come fifth this year. I don't know who's coming in fourth, third, second, and first. Then what? Newcastle going to get into Spurs?
You know what it is, Dan?
I don't get Spurs. I don't think any of them are good enough. Like, if I'm honest,
yeah, Dan. But you know what it is that the six fixtures are sort of like the litmus test for the rest of the season because of the fact that you have to hit the ground running. Old Trafford, Man United have spent big, and the Old Trafford Raw is going to get them on. Although you think Amorim's not going to be a pork chop and play expansive football because we'll murder them. Then you've got Leeds. They're going to be, very kind of like.
What teams do you think will finish above us then, Kenny? What teams?
The only teams that on paper who should finish above us is Man City and Liverpool. And Liverpool on the basis for me that they're bar when they're strong. Slot's no fool. He knows that there's certain positions he has to like I said, improve on. He knows defensively he needs to improve. He knew Trent Alexander was leaving way back in December. Trent would have told the Liverpool hierarchy that he's not going to sign a new contract. He's going to Real Madrid. That's why Real Madrid came with a low buy. So they knew he was leaving. So he's done something about that. He knows that Robertson's coming to the end of his time. So he's bought Kirkes. But he knows he needs to keep Robinson because Robertson in the big games tactically can be switched on and he keeps the ball better. But Kirkes is better going forward. So that thing. Another thing as well, and it's going to be very controversial. He needs Isak because Mo Salah probably will not have the season he had next season. He had last season, and it could be probably last season. So I think that he knows that if they get Isak, they can move away from Mo Salah, can marginalise him, and take it forward potentially. And then Man City, they've been preparing since January. They knew they weren't going to win the league in January. They knew they weren't going to win in January. So they've actually had their transition from January and buying the players. So not many of them defenders, admittedly, but if Man City want to play their attacking football, they've got the players to do it. Then it's us.
I actually agree with what DJ Denz is saying. Well, I agree with half of what he's saying here. Thinking second or third, and then he said if we don't strengthen, I think even if we do strengthen, I still think we'll come second or third. I actually said third on the stream the other day. I'll change it to second to try and give some form of positivity, but even that's not really good enough. I couldn't really give a damn, if I'm honest. If we don't come first, I couldn't care less if we come second, third, or fourth. Like,
can I ask you a question, Dan?
Yeah,
who do you think is going to? Because there's always a team, isn't there, that in the league that does better than you expect them to do. Who do you think that'll be this year?
Probably if I'm looking at the top, then probably Chelsea. However, if I was going for the whole, I actually think Everton are going to be really good this season. I like their signings. I think Moyes is underrated, and I think that new stadium is going to give him a boost. Everyone thinks that's going to be like, oh, it's such a bad thing. Goodison Park going. I think that might actually be quite a good thing for Everton. So I'd say Everton as the overachievers as a whole. But I think Chelsea near the top. I think Chelsea could be a problem, if I'm honest. I think Sunderland have made too many signings. I think they might find it hard to gel, if I'm honest.
Who wins the Champions League, then?
Who wins the Champions League? PSG, man. PSG.
Out of all the English sides, who's the best equipped to win the Champions League?
Liverpool.
I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going.
I think you're wrong. I think it's Chelsea. I think Chelsea are the best team in England because on the basis that Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal are going to be preoccupied with the league to the extent that that is going to be their holy grail, and the Champions League is going to be. I
wouldn't be shocked if Chelsea won it because it's Chelsea. They've won two before.
That's
right?
Not one person has thrown Rotten Tomatoes at me for predicting Chelsea have got the best.
No, I agree.
Then are we going to win a trophy? That's all I want. I just want a trophy and a day out.
Yeah, that's what I want, man. I'm just going to say we're going to win we'll win the FA Cup, man. Let's just go with that. I just want a trophy. I don't care about cup. It doesn't have to be a Premier League or a Champions League for me. I know people say it has to be for others, and I'm calm with that. I just want to win a trophy and go and title challenge. That's the minimum expectation for me. If it's a Premier League, brilliant. If it's a Champions League, amazing. If it's an FA Cup and we go to the game 38 and we can still win the league, cool, we've won something. He's proven he can get across the line with something. I'm just starved over here, man. Exactly. I'm absolutely starved.
Exactly.
I don't want to start poo-pooing trophies. You know what I'm saying? Like Igal was telling me, I don't want the FA Cup. I want it to be the Premier League or the Champions League. I want every trophy we're in, man.
If he gets to the cup final, or the League Cup final, and I see him there, I'm going to get a horsewhip. I'm going to whip him.
It's not that. I'm
going to give him the cane. I'm going to give him 6 the best. The cane.
Don't let Shane Gooner see him. But anyway, I just need the team to win. I think just for the team point of view, they need to win something.
Yeah, man.
They haven't won anything. They need to win something to go on to something else.
Facts.
But
the thing is, I understand what people say. Like, it's got to be the Premier League. It's got to be the Champions League. I think it's pretty harsh. And I'm no lover of Mikel Arteta. Trust me. But I think it's harsh to point at Mikel Arteta and go, "Win the Champions League or you're sacked." We've never won the Champions League, right? But I don't think it's unfair at all to say, "Win me a damn trophy, mate." Because Glasner can do it with Palace, but Ange can do it with Spurs. Eddie Howe can do it with Newcastle. Maresca's won 2 now in phase 1. Arne Slott's won Premier League in one. Yeah, one's on free. It is time, man. It's time to deliver. But look, let me do these super chats and then I've got to get out of here. Sky Touche says, forget Eze, go and get Isak. He plays alongside Gyökeres. Sell Martinelli, Nelson, and Kivior. Act like a big club. Do you know what? I agree with the end bit. Why can't we act like a big club? Why can't we show ambition now and go and launch 100 million euros at Real Madrid and say we'll take Rodrygo like we went head to head with Rice with Manchester City? Why can't we go up to Palace and go, oh, Tottenham, yeah, very funny. Here you go, Eze's here. I thought we had billionaire owners, but apparently we've got to sell players now because of PSL.
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we do that? I mean, at the end of the day, what does FFP really mean? Because apparently Man City, broke all the rules, but we still ain't heard anything about that. So surely, what does FFP actually mean?
FFP means you get non-compliance fines. That's all Man City are going to get. Trust me.
FFP is about stopping English clubs from dominating Europe. That's what Platini brought it in, because the English clubs were doing well in the first decade of the 21st century. He didn't like it. He couldn't take it. Liverpool getting the Champions League final, Arsenal winning it, Arsenal getting the Champions League final next season, and then Liverpool getting to it again, and then Chelsea all English club semi-final, and then Man United getting the final again. He couldn't take it, so he tried to stop it. But the fact is, how did that go?
Well, there we go. Kenny, that Maddison analogy is Erdegaard to a T. What Maddison analogy is that? Oh, what you said earlier, wasn't it? Yeah. That's
be a member of the boy band but can't sing. But it's true though. That's James Maddison, isn't it? James Maddison talks a good game but rarely delivers.
I like this as well from Stuart. He says no horses were harmed in the making of this episode.
Yes, I've seen it.
This one comes in. Last one from KK says trying to catch up to a team who've signed Wirtz, Kirkes, Ekitike, Frimpong, Guehi and Isak and Leone are all likely as well. That's how serious teams operate. It's a long season. Do you know what? That's the spot on super chat. That is. Look at that for Liverpool. They've just won the league and they're like, right, I'm going to go and do this summer. Arsenal, second again, which a lot of the panel don't think we're going to become second again. Look at it.
The devil inside me says that Liverpool, when in the corridors of Wembley, after the League Cup final, that's when Liverpool signed Isak. That's when they tapped him up. They tapped him up in that game, blatantly, because we started hearing rumours, even when we were coming to the end of the last season, that Liverpool were interested in Isak. How's that possible? He was tapped up, mate, at Wembley, and since then he's just basically said he's probably told Newcastle before the end of last season he was going. I could smell a rat from where I am right now. Something smells about how Liverpool approached went about that. They tapped the lad up in the corridors.
There's a lot of tapping up going on, mate. Trust me. There's going to be a lot. Of
tapping. Hey, Dan, we ain't tapping nobody. We ain't tapping up nobody. We need to be doing that.
We wouldn't know how to. We're
tapping up Nicholas Jackson on a loan, mate. That's what it is.
Oh, don't, bro.
I'm telling you.
No ideas. Don't listen to him, Arsenal. Listen,
Jason. We've got it. We've got it coming. We've got that deadline day disaster on the horizon, my friend. It's Arsenal on loan.
Hey, guys, I know I've been watching this game for all my life, and I know when a player's been tapped up, mate. And that smells like a tap up, mate.
Another Cesc Fabregas, isn't it, Kenny?
Yeah.
Listen, we've got to get out of here. Big up to every single one of you. I'm going to be heading over to Lee's stream now, so we're going to be redirecting you over there. So stay tuned. Make sure you're following and you are subscribed to the channel. Like and subscribe. We've got over 50k now, so we're going to go to the big 60 now, the big 60, which is mad for the next target.
Hey, congratulations, Dan.
Cheers, guys. I love boys. Thank you so much.
Well done, Dan.
Let's watch this season. So
cheers, man.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, God, if
these are on you at Leeds, these are on you at Leeds.
100, bro, 100. I'll see you guys at Leeds. I'll see you two of you anyway. So yeah, definitely 100% we'll have a beer. But yeah, look, make sure you're following Match Bingo. QR code on screen. Make sure you've scanned that. Make sure you're clicking it in the link in the live description, live chat. Sorry, and the description. Stay tuned for lead judges. We've got Kenny Ken. Make sure you're following Kenny Ken on socials. Got True Gunners TV with Brandon. Make sure you're following him. Make sure you're following everything Southern Gooner on YouTube. Make sure you're following DJB Arsenal Huddle, and of course Northside LDN as well. Big up to every single one of you guys for coming on. And yeah, we're going to go out of here, people, and we'll be back next week when hopefully we've beaten Manchester United 5-0. Take care. See you later. We're out of here.
Hopefully.
Joker's
Big up,
hat trick.